Well, thank you for those of you who are here. Um, Hopefully we'll have a couple other people who are just fashionably late join us, but welcome. Hello, thank you. Hi, Mary Jane.
Hi.
Hi, Olivia. Hi, Heidi. So it's a tradition that every single meeting I forget one thing. I always forget to bring one thing everywhere I go. Today I forgot to bring an HDMI cable to connect the computer to the TV.
Oh.
So we have to stare at my laptop, unfortunately.
That's all right.
But thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We do have a couple of things that are going on, and we'll post this video as well online for people who couldn't be here so they can watch the archive of it. Our guest tonight is going to be Mikey Navarro. Mikey is a multi-talent. He's an actor. He's a published author. He does graphic design and film production work, but he is best known for being the Oregon Duck. He's been the Oregon Duck for many, many years. Anytime that you see the duck either playing drums or dancing, it's guaranteed that that's Mikey in the costume. Mikey is also a recently published author. He just co-wrote the book, A Duck from Oregon Tries to Fly.
A must read.
Yes. So he's going to be joining us in about 15-20 minutes. I have a short little video that I'll play in a bit that shows some of the work that he's done. If you want to check that out, you're welcome to do so. We also have some film productions that are coming to our area. Right now, there's a casting call for all ages. Anyone who's interested in acting in commercials for the Running Y. Cameron Nielsen, who is a Klamath Film member, is producing those. So they need people hiking, biking, riding horses, kayaking to be filmed for commercials, to be made for Running Y. There is a film production happening in Ashland in late October that one of the filmmakers from our film festival this year is shooting a feature film, and he needs a first AC or assistant camera operator. So basically that means the person handling the focus on the cinema camera. So we've recommended a couple of people already, but if others are interested in potentially working on a feature film, there's an opportunity for that. I got contacted by Al Jazeera Television, which is doing a documentary for a series they call Frontlines. And for Frontlines, they're covering in part, if everyone remembers back to May, when there was a rumor flying around that Antifa was coming to town and like 400 people showed up to downtown with guns. And it was just the 400 people with guns and a couple of college students with cardboard signs. So they're making a documentary in part about that incident that gained national media attention in the worst way possible for Klamath Falls. And they're also covering some other similar events that are happening around the country. And I got contacted as well by a Netflix series. The crew is based out of England, but they're planning to come here sometime probably early next year for about 4 weeks. They're doing nature documentaries that are based on birds. And so they're going to be filming around Upper Klamath Lake as well as the Tule Lake Wildlife Refuge. And they're looking for local crew to help out on that. So if anyone is interested in potentially working on a Netflix television series, there's going to be opportunities to work with that film crew for several weeks. So we've already had 5 films shot here this year, and we have several more that are looking to come in the near future, which is fantastic. We've never had that many films shot here before, so terrific. We do have sad news. Howard Joyce, Olivia and Heidi, but Mary Jane, you may not have heard. During the film festival a couple of weeks ago, we found out during the film fest that one of our founding members comes to every meeting, volunteers for every event, goes to everything. He was supposed to volunteer, and we found out that he wasn't there because he had just passed away. So for those who recall David Reed passed away in mid-September. So we're sure going to miss him because he came to everything and helped out with everything. So that was quite a shock during the film festival to find out that David had passed away. So just an FYI about that, he'd been a part of our organization since it was founded in 2012. So, hi Art, welcome.
Thank you.
I was just going through a couple of quick announcements before we get to our guests. So quick recap for you. Not sure if you got a chance to watch while you were volunteering at the film fest. So, and you already know David passed away, unfortunately. We have heard just in the last couple of weeks from a film crew from Al Jazeera that is filming here for a show called Frontlines. They're doing interviews with people who were involved in the May 31st incident downtown when there was rumors of Antifa coming to town, and so like 400 people showed up with guns, and there was just like a couple of kids with like cardboard signs.
I was there.
Yeah, so they're covering that, and then hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
And then I also got contacted by a Netflix film crew that is planning to do a nature documentary here sometime early next year. They're still figuring out exactly when, but a nature documentary that's focusing on birds. And so they're planning to film for 3 or 4 weeks around Upper Klamath Lake and Tule Lake National Wildlife Refuge. And they will have, they're looking to hire locals. So if people are interested in potentially working on a Netflix series coming up sometime early next year, as I get more details, I will announce more things about it. But there may be some work opportunities coming up in the very near future to work with Netflix. We've already had 5 films shoot in Klamath County this year, which is a record for us. We've had a film about the Modoc Wars, the 1870s shoot. We had a thriller that we were premiered at the film festival in mid-September called Matterhorn. It was shot here in April. We had a documentary about the World War II Japanese balloon bombs filmed here. And then the Al Jazeera crew was here earlier this year, and they're going to be coming back again. And what I'm blanking on what the other one was. Heidi, help me out if I'm forgetting something here. Something else.
The one that you did
Right.
late night downtown?
Yes, The Private Dance is a narrative short that was shot at the Herald and News in downtown in early August. Thank you for the reminder on that. And then we're going to have the Netflix crew come sometime soon. So that's unprecedented for us, having that much film production happening. So that's terrific. Beyond that, we did our film festival. Thank you to those who were there and were able to participate, or if you watched online. We showed more made in Oregon films this year than we have ever done in the history of our festival. We showed 46 films. We had more people watch online than we've ever had before. We sold more tickets than last year. We had the majority of our filmmakers attend, which was terrific to have so many filmmakers there. And overall, I just thought it was a fantastic event. So I forgot the HDMI cable to the TV, so we're all gonna have to stare at my laptop, unfortunately. That's my bad. And there's our guest joining us, Mikey. Hey, Mikey. Okay,
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, Mikey, great timing.
Awesome.
So I was just going through some announcements. Welcome to Klamath Falls virtually.
Thank you so much.
So we're a 501c3 nonprofit based in Southern Oregon that helps out to promote and support filmmaking in the area. And so we have some of our members here in person at a local brew pub, and some of them are joining us online via Zoom, and hopefully a few more will join us in a bit. I was just about to show your demo reel in a minute, but I was going through some of the films. We've had 5 films shot here already this year, and we just heard from Netflix and Al Jazeera that want to shoot here in the near future. So we have some things going on, which is fantastic. And we just wrapped up our annual Klamath Independent Film Festival as well a couple of weeks ago. And our festival is the only one around that exclusively shows made in Oregon films.
Very cool.
So yeah,
Awesome.
said, I think we should probably get through some introductions so our guest knows who we are, and then show some of his work that he's done. So I took your demo reel online and I modified a couple things on it, but Nothing too crazy here, Mikey. So first of all, I'm sure everybody knows me, but my name is Kurt Lidke. I'm the interim executive director now, as opposed to executive director of Klamath Film. I am also the videographer for Klamath Community College. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a commercial drone pilot for both aerial and submersible. And I am a lifelong duck fan who grew up in Eugene. My dad even taught at the University of Oregon for a couple of years. That's relevant with our guest tonight. So with that, Art, why don't you introduce yourself?
Art Belsky, long-term member. Thank you for joining us.
And William Belsky, Art's wife.
And then over here.
I'm Joyce. I'm a local photographer and acrylic artist and big fan.
Howard? Or there's a mic right next to you, Howard.
Howard Stapleton, been in Klamath Falls about 2 years. I'm a photographer.
Very nice to meet you all.
And Mary Jane, why don't you introduce yourself? Oh, Mary Jane, you're muted. Don't worry. Inevitably, someone always does that at least once every meeting. So.
There I go.
Okay, that's better.
I'm Mary Jane. I like photography. I am an artist. I like to work in charcoal, the very best. And I've also published a children's book as well. It is called The Greatest, and it has to do with overcoming adversity and is written in a way that is appealing to children.
Awesome.
And we, thank you.
Children's books. Our guest tonight, here's my copy, has written or co-written a book called A Duck from Oregon Tries to Fly. And we'll get into why this is relevant to Mikey in a bit. So we have several authors on the call. That's fantastic. And Heidi and Olivia, why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Want to go?
Hi, my name is Olivia, and I am a part of Klamath Film. I was at the film festival, and I enjoyed the film festival a lot.
And you've gotten to read Mikey's book, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm Heidi. I'm Kurt's girlfriend. I am not a lifelong duck fan. I am a lifelong beaver fan. So sorry, Mikey. But because I'm connected to Kurt, I have gotten the Autzen experience, and there is definitely nothing like it. So I don't necessarily hate the ducks anymore. So there you go.
It's very nice to meet you, all of you.
And Mikey, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll get into your demo reel video so that all of our members can get a sense of some of the work you've done.
Sure. My name is Mikey Navarro. I am based out of San Francisco, California. I am a director, producer, actor, author, music producer, mascot, creative of sorts, and I am continuing that path as a creative entrepreneur, and eager for the next creative project that happens to land on my lap.
Fantastic. Well, let's check out some of the work that you have done. I've got a little video here. I think this audio should come through for those on the video call, but if it doesn't, that's my screw up. I apologize in advance. Oh, hang on. Nope. Sorry about that. I think that's actually me right there. Yeah. This was my footage that ESPN used for Good Solid Fun of Mikey dancing.
What is it? Way good.
I see some of you out there sizing up the competition, looking at him and thinking, that's my arch enemy. Life is good. Life is good. He just wouldn't shut up about it.
Hey, you know what? The gluten-free channel can't find out about this. I know they can't find out about it. That's the whole problem. What's happening? Nothing. It's just, I think a furry snuck in and then he's switching. It's not a big deal. A furry is simply just someone who likes to dress up like an animal with human characteristics. It's a form of role play. It's huge. Yeah, that's great. We're in the Burbank. We just came down on the phone. It took 30 minutes. Could you excuse me just for a second? Hey, get back here. It was a big Saturday for the Oregon football team and the Ducks. Football team beat USC 53-32, but that beat down nothing compared to the dance-off between the Duck and this USC cheerleader. The Duck who doing all those push-ups. Jesse proves he is not one-dimensional. He can break it down as well, and it's the cheerleader just not sure what to do at all. Big Saturday for the Oregon football team and its mascot. The football team at USC big, and then the mascot in a dance-off for the USC cheerleader. Watch this about 4 times. Final verdict here. I'm sorry, the cheerleader got served.
Your please. Near Eugene. That is absolutely perfect. Great game. That's what's the hold on. I'm gonna have to tell you something.
Strong work.
I gave my love a cherry that had no stone. Getting to the football fan where the best seats in the house are, they'll tell you it's the student section. It's a raucous and unique atmosphere.
Heidi and I were at this game.
It was pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Okay, I know that was a little bit longer than our usual demo reels, but hey, it's the Duck, and the Duck is awesome. So, hey, Mikey, thank you for being here. So, we always have a very eclectic membership between actors and film producers and directors and photographers and whatnot. We're kind of photographer heavy tonight, but that's okay. Could you talk a little bit about how exactly you ended up in the entertainment industry? Kind of give us a background of how you got into all this. I remember I met your brother before I met you down in LA at Oregon alumni watch parties, but I've run into you on campus a few times from time to time, and either you are the Duck or you're escorting the Duck.
Yeah. So yes, I guess I got into the industry. Really, it's been a dream of mine to be in entertainment / sports / film. And growing up, I studied music, a lot of music. I was a percussionist first, to cello and some additional instruments. And so that tied in with my, after school theater programs and musicals. While doing choir and being the mascot at my high school, it really made sense to pursue this further for myself. So I went to the University of Oregon to further my schooling in music. And so while I was there studying music, I also was the mascot for Oregon. And while I was doing that, I was DJing at the local, bars and clubs, just to try to get my feet wet, try to really grow as a musician, as a performer, as an entertainer, because I felt like after I graduated college, I didn't think I was gonna really have work or have a job being a musical singing mascot. And so I really honed in on how can I promote my skills, promote myself, but also, hone into my craft, find ways to really piece together, gigs, projects, certain incomes, because, being in the entertainment industry, it's pretty inconsistent at the start. It's pretty consistent still now, but I figured if I can learn how to create a living for myself and to make ends meet while doing what I love and continuing to perform, continuing to grow as a creative and as a creator, I knew I was going to be okay. I graduated Oregon in 2011, and then I worked at the athletic department at the Oregon athletic department for 2 years as the first mascot coach. The athletic department hired me to be the coach of the mascot program. So really that was a ability for myself to, save some money to really grow even further. But then I moved down to San Francisco in 2013 and to work in sports, to work in entertainment a little bit further, more than, what Eugene had to offer. And, since 2013, I've just been working around the Bay Area, working, in LA as well. I'm working in entertainment, working in sports, kind of creating a snowball effect of my opportunities and, the positions I'm able to be offered. That's really just my path. This has been a dream of mine to be in this field. And I don't think it's ever going to be, I'm actually there. I've actually made it. I think it's a continual path and a continual progression of life. And, I just try to have a positive outlook on it all, because, ups and downs, that's life. But, if I'm able to be happy with, how I'm doing and what I'm doing, then I know it's going to pan out in the long run.
So you've been able to do a wide variety of projects. Certainly being the duck in so many things helps kind of open the door, but you've been able to work with, a vast clientele, including companies like Nike and whatnot. And then there was a Netflix series that you got to act in extensively. Mascots, for those who haven't seen it, came out, 2016? 2017, something like that?
2015, yeah, 2015, 2016.
And so very much so, it was, if I remember correctly, a Christopher Guest series. So in the same kind of vibe as like Spinal Tap or Mighty Wind, sort of like mockumentary almost.
Yes.
But based around people who are mascots of different varieties. So Mikey got to be multiple characters in that and also basically supervise all the mascots for the whole thing. How did all that come together?
Like you said, the duck opened many doors for me. I happened to be, I was asked by Nike to be a part of the Shout, the Oregon Duck Shout parody video that they air between the third and fourth quarter at the stadiums. They asked myself, even though I graduated, to be the duck within that video. So I was in Los Angeles with Marcus Mariota shooting our portion of that entire piece. And so on that shoot, our DP, our director of photography, Chris Kachinkis, really just appreciated, I guess, my how I carried myself on set, how I performed, and the way I, was able to be a professional in that capacity. We shot for about 4 or 5 hours in the morning, and then we grabbed lunch together. And in that lunch, just by talking a little bit more about what I do, what he's doing in further projects, he definitely hinted at the fact that he's working on a mascot-based project that they need a little bit more expertise on. Carrying on that conversation from that day onward to, sorry, the cable car's going by. After that day, we carried on the conversation for about a month or two. We kept getting on phone calls, talking about what the project could be. But then ultimately I drove down to LA to meet Christopher Guest and the rest of the production crew. Just talking about where I come from, my history and my outlook on what it takes to be a good mascot and good performer. And I guess I said the right things, because then on August or October 5th, I get a phone call, which is a Monday. Hey, can you be here on Wednesday? We need you here. And I moved down to Los Angeles for about a month and a half and worked on this project, overseeing the entire mascot performances at the very end of this movie, which takes about like a half hour long to get through. But then I also played 6 characters within the film and was able to coach a lot of the performers that were in the mascot costumes that have never been a mascot before. There was no other mascot on set besides me, and I was able to really advise them on performance techniques and a lot of the production.
Fantastic. And beyond mascots, have you you've done some other work? I know you help out with the Golden State Warriors as well, but what's some of the other like production related work that you've done?
Yes. So I definitely I work with the Golden State Warriors as an entertainer, as part of their hype team. I now work with the San Francisco Giants as a mascot handler and backup mascot. I have done a couple acting gigs in the last year. I was in Shang-Chi, Marvel's Shang-Chi, as an extra. I did a State Farm commercial that's airing right now. I'm in the background at Jake's Barbecue. But as of recent, I've been doing a lot of just production on, digital content, animations, some, sports thematic videos, but doing also music production. I just produced music for LACMA, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. They just had a Colin Smith video series that they just published, and I composed the music for about an hour's worth of video. So I'm just really playing the field of where I'm leaning creatively, as far as just like video. I'm really focusing on my own music right now, as far as my production and creating music for my own types of video ideas. But like Kurt said, I just wrote a children's book that just got published back in August. I'm working on some additional projects with the University of Oregon and the mascot program. I've been an advisor for the mascot program since I've left, and it's just really fun to be able to work with Oregon, because they really value I think the collaborative spirit and the innovation aspect of things, and I've just been very blessed to be a part of that program still.
Perfect. Does anyone have questions for Mikey up front? Otherwise, it'll just be him and I chatting for a while.
Oh, go ahead. Just gonna say, it takes a really special individual specifically to do what you've done with the mascot role, but then all the adversity and the other roles that you present us with, it's amazing. Hats off to you.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. That really does mean a lot. It wasn't easy, I think, growing up, not knowing what I'm good at or thinking what I'm good at. I felt like I had a lot of necessary skills, or just kind of complete random skill sets, but I was really able to find myself and find avenues where I can bring that out further. And I think it just takes a lot of belief to get through that, and to be able to trust myself that it's going to be okay, because it hasn't really been an easy road, but I'm definitely feeling good and feeling on my feet now, being able to know that there is there's work in my field, but everything that I've done up to this point, as different as they are all connected in a way. And I think the way I try to describe it is I really love telling stories. I love being creative, and under that umbrella, I think all of these do fit.
It looks like we had another person join us, but it shows up as iPhone. iPhone, whoever you are, you want to introduce yourself? Yep. Hey there. Oh, is that, sounds like that was Court, but the audio was cutting out.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
it's Rich Peterson.
Oh,
how are you doing, Kurt?
Rich, hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Well, we are just a couple minutes into talking to our featured guest tonight, Mikey Navarro, who is an actor, producer, does music production as well, and he's perhaps best known as being the Oregon Duck mascot. So we're talking about Oregon Duck stuff, as well as some of the work that he's done with Netflix and other things. Hey, Rich, there you are.
There I am. Yeah.
And we just had another member show up. Brooke, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Brooke. I'm a mechanical engineering student at Oregon Tech, and I've been a professional mascot for the last 10 years. So I just finished up with Hootie's birthday today, so that's why I'm a little late. But Mikey, I just wanted to say, you're one of the reasons that I got into mascotting. I did not know it was you at the time, but that's so cool. So I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you. That's really nice. That's the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said. Thank you.
Brooke used to work at Disney, and it's probably maybe one of the Rose Bowls or something when you were down in LA. And
oh, wow.
When because anytime that the duck was playing drums or the duck was dancing, chances are it was Mikey in the costume. And so you saw that at some point. You're like, I want to do that.
But yeah, so I was in marching band, and my ultimate goal was to work for Disney. But at the time in middle school and high school, I was like, well, I got to go to school right out of high school. So I thought that the cure for that would be to be the Oregon Duck, because at a festival of bands, I saw you come out and play quads, and I was just really impressed with that. So I was like, okay, well, I could do that, and then I wouldn't have to work for Disney at all. But that didn't work out. But yeah, I still really love following the Duck's work, and I love his animation, and yeah, it's some super cool stuff you get to do.
Well, and also Mikey, it should be noted, not only was he the Duck, but he also spearheaded, the Duck is, of any mascot around, probably has the best social media fan following and does the best via social media. He's the guy who launched the Oregon Ducks social media content. And still, do you still have some input on that? Because the Duck definitely has some serious snark online.
Yeah, I don't know why I still have the keys, but I do. But I still work with them very heavily on the social media, but it's a process. It's a coaching process. I don't tweet everything, but there's definitely a tweet by committee, if you will.
Okay.
Question. One thing that I've found really hard is the transition from theme park mascotting and media mascotting to like sports games mascotting. It seems to be an entirely different set of rules that I'm not used to. Would you mind elaborating on that and like the do's and don'ts of that?
Yes. I too always wanted to work for Disney. I still want to work for Disney, whether I don't know if I would be a friend of a character or if I could be an Imagineer, but I've always just admired.
I'm in college right now, so.
Awesome. I've always admired just the characters at Disney and how they are able to perform. because we know those characters from film and from shows and animations for years. And I think there is a standard that they are, or there is a persona that they have that we all know. And that's something that, for respectfully the price of admission, you would expect to go to Disneyland and understand that Pluto will act like Pluto. Buzz Lightyear will act like Buzz. And, within the realms of, in that, those character traits and that persona, there is some of, play that you can have while staying within the box of reason, just because it's, Disney. And I think there is you have to be aware of absolutely so many more obstacles and maybe red tape than you would if you're at, say, an Oregon Duck appearance or another mascot appearance, where, that type of interaction, that improvisation, has a little bit more free reign. You're able to do more and branch out more because there's not necessarily a rule book or an encyclopedia or an exact reference of how this character is. So I think that theme park mascots, from what we know of them, have a parameter of how they should perform and be, because that is what we know them as and who they are within all of their mediums. But then when it comes to, a college mascot or a sports team mascot, within reason, I think you are able to play as far as you can, as long as you don't cross that line. And saying that line is, getting into trouble. Now that line of trouble is a toe, is a line that I love to toe, but there is a point where you cross that line and you do get in trouble, whether it's, an action that you did or a photo you took or, some, whatever it may be. I think it's just about understanding like social norms, how people, human behavior works, knowing there are, things that people don't like, and people, you can take things a little bit further just to mess with people. Mess with people is what mascots, I guess, do. But I think you just have more room as someone that's not so, corporation or known from a generational way of, content that's been before. I think that also just being a sports mascot or college mascot is a reflection on the person inside the suit, the costume. I don't like saying that because, this character, it's a character. And I think that it really is it's like an Iron Man type situation where, you have a ability to be Iron Man and you have all these superpowers and all these cool gadgets and stuff. But if you're not, if it really is the person inside that really makes this performer come out and that persona come out even further and evolve, is that evolution as a performer, as an entertainer. So I think that's really the focus. If, growing, there's a lot of growth in that. I think I adore theme park mascots, but I also think there is a ceiling. And I think being able to have the ability to perform and be whoever you want and however you want, it's an open sea. There's so many possibilities, and that's where I think true growth happens.
I see Wayne has joined us. Rich, we'll get your question in just a second. Wayne, do you want to introduce yourself to our guest, Mikey?
Hello, Mikey. My name's Wayne Sweat, fellow creative. I prefer acting than, well, like you. It's just I don't generally have a mask on. Anyhow, it's been a long day. I'm just going to listen and enjoy the show. So carry on.
Very nice to meet you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Rich, did you have a question there?
Yeah, I have a question. I know at Disney World now they have the whole Star Wars thing, and they have the stormtroopers and Darth Vader and just all the Star Wars. How much are those characters talking? Are they actually talking, or are they actually silent like Mickey Mouse or Pluto? Do you know anything about?
That's proprietary information. I actually had a 5-day training course on that before I was allowed to work with any Star Wars characters, and anyone who works with that with Star Wars characters at Disney parks or with entertainment for Disney has to go through that same training, which if you're a Star Wars fan, it's nothing. It's like, these are the things you can't talk about. We call that legends. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's just from the ground up. I'm not sure if I can say this.
I can take a stab at it.
Yeah.
Well, and most mascots don't talk too. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, stormtroopers say anything.
They talk.
Does Kylo Ren say? They do.
Kylo Ren speaks.
They speak, but they are recordings, and they have certain ways of accessing certain controllers of the certain things they can say, but it's all within a program that they have buttons. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, so you said most of it. It's called gesture recognition. So in the left hand, which is why they don't sign autographs, usually if a character doesn't sign an autograph, there's a reason why. And it's hard for people in the park to understand, because with some characters, it's hard to understand. Some characters do sign, some don't. But with Star Wars characters specifically, in their left hand is a mechanism that recognizes emotion. So you can have an affirmative fire off. So yes, okay, good. You can call someone out. You can have a dismissive, no, negative. There's this one as well.
Wow.
You can go like this, like
awesome.
Go awesome.
But yeah, there's like maybe 5 words per gesture, and the performer knows which one's gonna fire next, depending on which one they're firing.
That is really cool.
That's very deep dive on the inner workings of stuff. Does anyone have questions for Mikey? I mean, this is a guy who's done a wide variety of stuff in the industry, from music to acting to obviously live performance. I'm certainly. It looks like Olivia has a question for you.
How do you do the moves in a duck outfit?
That's a good one.
So, it's hard enough to move like that just as a regular person, but once you put the outfit on, little bulky, little heavy, I imagine. How do you learn to bust a move like that?
Right. Great question. I would say it is a little bit limiting. I mean, the biggest part of that is the head, and just being able to be one with it enough times to know the limitations of where you can and can't move. Because once you figure out, where certain placements of your, body is and your positioning is, you're able to understand, am I communicating okay? Does this read of what I'm doing? Does my emotion come through, even though I'm moving in my mind, what I think are big movements, they're not. And the only really way to tell, I think, is just by watching video of myself inside, or with the duck, is to be able to watch footage of myself and to be able to say, well, that's good. I can actually be a little bit more bigger, even if it is a little bit more uncomfortable to act in a certain way or get this emotion out. I've been able to say, well, by muscle memory, if I were to do these type of motions, I know this reads better than how, I thought it did before. And I think just repetition of watching, footage of myself, watching commercials, watching anything I could do. I learned muscle memory of, well, these are now my movements. So now this is my angry, this is my happy, this is my sad. And I would say, like, yeah, there are some limitations of, how far I can go with my hands or how high I can go. And, my feet are now webbed feet and they're giant and webbed and they're uncomfortable, but, you work with that. You understand, well, now it's part of you. There's no reduction of my foot or, size of my head, but I just need to work with it. And I need to overcompensate and work harder at being quicker at my emotions, because it's a larger than life character. And I think you just have to have larger than life movement.
From an acting perspective, Mikey, that brings up something kind of interesting, because like there's a difference between acting on stage when you're trying to get the people in the nosebleed seats to still be able to, feel the emotion you're trying to convey, as opposed to when there's a camera a foot in front of you. You don't have to be, you can be a lot more subtle when there's a camera as opposed to doing something on stage. But having that giant costume, does that mean that you have to over accentuate everything to compensate for all of the fluff and like 70 pounds of padding that you're wearing?
No, I mean, well, it's like you said, the context, when you're in Autzen Stadium in front of 60,000 people and, you're doing push-ups or you're, doing, playing with a trash can on the field, your movements have to be big. You have to be exact and you have to be intentional with how you move and how you want certain things to read. But when you have, a very close-up camera right here, you can very slightly move or twitch or have some movement that, even though it's very small, it's red just because it's a camera here and they're going to blow it up, times 5. And I think just being able to understand what you're going for from a emotion, what you're going for from a, response or, type of communication, and just finding the right way to make it read, whether it's a, small head turn, or if someone says something crazy, you snap. And I think it's just being able to know, what's the punch, what's the joke, what will get, what's the context, and being able to find whatever that sweet spot is of that movement so that it does read either way.
Okay. So for those who haven't had a chance to ask questions, Howard or Lillian or Art, okay. There's a mic over there or a mic right here.
Mic right here. So, hello.
Hi.
Can you tell us, because every time I see the end of a movie, I wonder, what does a producer do? And from your perspective, and what have you done as a producer? Because you're a producer too.
Yes. I would say producer has a skill or several skills that can apply to the whole mechanism and the whole process, whether it's writing, whether it's, scheduling, whether it's, hiring the talent, from executive producer level down. I would say producer is glue and is the connectors of the project from start to finish, whether, it's in the vision of the director or they were able to work with a committee to, see this project through. From my experience as a producer, I worked for Bleacher Report. It's a sports media company based in San Francisco and New York. And I executive produced, different long forms of animation, video, kind of different conceptual, like innovative conceptual type videos or animations type of content that doesn't really require like a TV writer or TV producer or movie producer, but more so someone like myself that is able to connect the dots, that is able to connect a writer to a actual designer or an animator to a director, but I'm able to navigate the conversations that needs to be have to get this project complete, on budget, on time, but also the quality is there from an editing standpoint where I'm able to, look at maybe someone that does have a hard skill and to work with them on what I'm seeing, what the mission is, what the ask is, to polish it in a way, not doing everything myself, but to connect, the best of the industry to make the best product. I think you need, a nucleus, an epicenter of communication. And that was really where I learned a lot of my producing skills, was be able to work on different types of mediums and different concepts. So on as far as the film level, my producers, executive producers, I saw them wear multiple different hats, and I feel that, because just being able to put on a hat and say, I need to get this done, or I need to write, or I need to schedule this out, I need to find 10 mascots by the end of the day that can wear a costume for multiple hours. That's all stuff that they've learned how to do over the years, whether they are, the associate producer or executive producer. I think there's also the ability to put on a hat and say, this has to get done. And whether or not it's me or, someone else, I think, as far as when you grow in the industry, you're able to do a little bit less of the hard skills of piecing everything together. But I think it's about being able to be glue, being able to be a component in the whole system to make sure this project gets complete and actually gets published.
So is there a financial input from you as a producer, or just skill and hard work?
I would say, I've never saw myself as a producer. I never thought I was going to be a producer. I didn't even think that was a title for me. I always saw myself as a music composer, music producer, but being in sports, being in social media, being, working down this path, I found myself as a senior producer, executive producer role. It's been very just good for me, because I really do love that type of work. I enjoy it. I think that it's really something that I really love doing. And money has started to come from that, for me. And I've just been able to be blessed and put into positions where I've been working on all aspects of what a producer would, whether it's, budget, scheduling, writing, directing, music producing, complete hiring voice talent, working with the actors, working with different agencies, studios, and individual creators. Just being in that type of role, you have to get your hands dirty. And I've just been fortunate enough that I was really trusted to do a lot of different types of medium, different types of concepts and content. But I would love to be able to do that, honestly, for long form film. I don't think I'm there yet, but I would love to work up to that.
So when you mentioned budget, are you working as a line producer as well then, where you're in on the ground floor and helping to build on the concept?
Yes, at Bleacher Report, I was pitching ideas. So many no's I've got told, but when you do get that win of something that you do have in your head and your idea, I'm conceptualizing it, I'm writing it, I'm directing, I'm putting the budget together, I'm allocating exactly where the money needs to go and how it needs to be, spread across. Whether everyone is, it really just depends on the project. And I worked with, music producers, I've worked with video editors, I've worked with animators, illustrators, the full realm, and every project is different. I found myself really getting more into animation and producing animation. So I wasn't the one hand drawing everything, but I was hiring out, our animators, saying, well, we have to, this is your budget here for, X amount, and I have to find someone else to do sound design. I have to find someone else to do a voiceover. I need to maybe get some other edits from another writer. So being able to be on the very top level of here's the idea, it's evolving, and I'm the communicator and the director and the producer, but I'm also, coordinating all these different aspects. That's just a form of that, but I've also just been, a line producer. I've been, I've been taking directions from directors before, being able to say, this is my pocket of what I need to concentrate on. This is where I need to focus on. Having someone else's vision be, the whole, the ship that sails it all. And, I just like being able to work with other creators, regardless of what the title is, because I think once you're at that level, you're just kind of, well, we want to see this through, whatever the title is, let's get it done, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mikey, we should talk about the book. A Duck from Oregon Tries to Fly. We were just passing it around the table so everyone could scope it out. How did the idea of a mascot writing a book come about, and how long did this thing take? Wayne and Rich, if you since you joined late, this is the book, A Duck from Oregon Tries to Fly. This is my copy of it, written by the duck with assistance from Mikey Navarro and Tay Bowen.
Yes, we've had this idea for this book actually for years. Ever since I left Oregon, actually in like 2013, we've been brewing with the idea of the duck writing a book. And over time, we really just try to figure out how the writing needs to be, how the visuals need to be. It's really, the duck is an entity, an icon that has a brand, a high quality to him. And I think we just wanted to find the right way to have him create a piece of literature that made the most sense. From start to finish of actually, pen to paper and getting to work. It's been about 3 years to get this from start to finish. And I don't want to scare anyone that has any ambitions to write a book. COVID was a big factor in why it took 3 years, because we had this idea ready to go. We had, the story, we had the approvals, everything was ready to go. But then once, COVID happened, really just put a halt onto getting this printed, getting it published, getting it really in stores where it is now. But I guess the whole creation took about, I would say, a year and a half, while we had some, lingering half a year and a half to 2 years from start to finish to create this, actually writing and drawing everything. That was about a 2-year process.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If you have questions for Mikey, feel free to chime in.
So I've contacted Mascot Publishing before, and I really like some of their work that they put out, like your book. And I was wondering, was this funded through the school, or was this funded as a project of your own?
This was a project of our own that we finalized, and then we told Oregon, we're doing this, and here it is. And they said, wow, okay, great, done, we'll figure this out. And I think that's unfortunately a lot of how good creations happen. Is you need to have proof of concept, you need to have that trust, you need to have it done. There's been so many times I've pitched things before, and the other side of it doesn't understand the idea, doesn't understand me being so passionate about this idea. And sometimes you just need to just do it, get it done, because that's really, how to get a good creative new concept off the ground, is just to show, no, the work is done. Everything is done. All we need you to do is to agree to it, to license it, and we'll work with you. Like, we just wanted to show you this idea in the best form we can possible. And we just happened to take it from all the way, like, we got the whole book done. We got it like printed. We got it done on spiral. We spent our own money. We spent our own time.
Hey, you spent your own money on this thing. That's very impressive.
Thank you. And and you know, once we got all the agreements, once we got all the it licensed by Oregon, well, now we have to print it. So that was actually invested from the Oregon cheerleading department, which, you know, proceeds of this book will benefit the cheerleading program. Once we do get the check back, we will have a large part of the proceeds going back to it. So it really was an investment, but it is, you know, it's paying off. And I think that's just the whole believing in yourself, believing in the idea. You know, it's we had to get it done in order for it to get across that line, and we're glad we did, because it does pan out sometimes, and this is one of those situations.
Cool. So for those who haven't had a chance to ask a question yet, Howard or Lillian or Mary Jane or Heidi, something you want to chime in with?
Kurt, as a duck, or why a duck, the duck must have some stories. Unexpected, unusual, embarrassing, humorous events.
But the duck doesn't talk, so it has to be all pantomime.
Yes, but maybe Mikey could relate some of the things that have happened to the duck.
Yeah, and in terms of knowing that you're performing live in front of 60,000 people and several million people watching on TV live at the same time, any unusual moments that have occurred in the costume that you just kind of rolled with, or like, whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen?
Yeah, one comes to mind. I think we just beat Cal. Cal was number 6 in the country. I think it was 2011, 2010. It was a big game, and I just remember this game. You know, we beat the number 6 team in the country, but you know, our students and our fans were somewhat jaded. I think we all knew our team was good, and we beat the number 6 team in the country. There should be some people rushing the field, but no one was really rushing the field. And it was kind of like a weird, just after game moment where I was just looking around, seeing if anyone was rushing the field, and no one was. And I was signaling for everyone to just, you know, jump over the fences. Like, let's go down the quad, let's celebrate. And then people started to, you know, rush the field and celebrate towards the L. But I was waiting for all the students, you know, just keep ushering them down, like, come on, let's go. And then I got tackled. Someone tackled me on the side, and then the duck head flew off.
Someone was not wearing their chin strap.
And my chin strap was on. It just happened. I don't know. It flew at an angle. It hit me at the right moment. And so I was exposed, but that's the one no, you can't have a head off. You can't be exposed. So I covered up really quick. I put the shirt over my head, so I was headless duck for a little bit. And the student section, there was a couple of members of the student section. One of them, Alex Horwich, grabbed the head and returned it back to me and put it on me. You know, it was just like this. It was this cool moment where the pit crew leader, student section president, if you will, you know, grabbed the head and return it back to the duck, when easily any college student in the right mind could have taken that, ran off, and, you know, gone partied the rest of the night.
Alex is actually a buddy of mine. He just recently started working at DreamWorks. So that's another Oregon duck who's done well in the entertainment industry. Alex did a ton of work. He was part of the singing group, the a cappella singing group that's really famous at University of Oregon, and was always one of the front row people in the student section helping out Mikey. So, so here, Lillian and Mary Jane, you haven't had a chance to talk. Is there anything that you want to ask Mikey? I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to chime in if you want to.
Well,
I was just thinking. I read your book. And while I was reading, I was trying to translate it into Spanish. I'm a translator, and I recently did a translation into Spanish of a children's book. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh my gosh, this would be very hard to do. to translate it into Spanish. Do you speak Spanish by any chance?
Well,
Because of your last
because
name?
it rhymes in English and it wouldn't rhyme in Spanish.
Well, you had to find the rhyming in Spanish too. You have to literally translation is a little bit very tricky because you have to be faithful to the book, the text, but also you have to, find the rhymes and I said, oh my gosh,
words don't come across in different languages.
Well, you had to switch a lot of things. But do you speak Spanish by any chance, Mikey?
I'm very embarrassed to say I do not, and I feel very bad about it. And lo siento, I am sorry, but I would love to translate this into Spanish and figure out a way, because we have to creatively solve this, but I think we can, and that's just I understand it won't be exact, and there's a lot of emphasis and focus that we have to make sure it's appropriately translated, but that's just part of it. It's just like this story, we didn't know how to really create a rhyming story before. We didn't know how to create a voice for the duck in such a way, but I think it's a process. And if you're interested in being able to translate a children's book, I would love.
It could be a big challenge, but it takes time as much as it takes you time to write it and produce it, and it's not something easy to do. You go to bed and start thinking about what word rhymes with what word, and you start figure out things, that I really enjoyed.
I can tell you actually, for a time when I was in LA, I worked for a video game company. And Sony requires that every game gets translated into 20 languages. And so there's this whole localization process of taking all of the dialogue that's in the game and making sure that the captions are appropriate for things. One of the games I worked on was a game called Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty. It was like a pirate treasure type game. And very last minute, right before we were about to go to manufacturing, we realized that in Portuguese, it was going to ship as Ratchet and Clank Gold Poop.
I know.
Thankfully, we were able to catch that and change it just in time, because the Portuguese and Brazilian markets would have been very confused if we had shipped a game called Gold Poop and instead of a game about seeking out pirate treasure and collecting all that. I always think back on that as far as things that can get lost in translation when you're trying to go from one in English. It may make total sense, but then you can't. There's no word that matches that for a specific language.
It's a lot of work. You have to, and you can trust. There's some machines translators, but you have to trust on the human. The human brain can be compared with a machine. But it was very interesting when I was reading the book and I said, okay, how can I do this? I was just trying to put it in my brain and turn it into Spanish. And that would be very interesting, very challenging too. So,
well, and we have another author on the call, Mary Jane. You just published a book too, right?
There we go.
You're muted, Mary Jane.
Sorry, I always have a problem with that, it seems. I did publish a book, and I'm working on marketing it right now in different ways. And it was a project that that spanned over a few years, and it is published, it's self-published, and I chose my own illustrator and we worked together, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do with it.
Fantastic. Well, congrats on that. I think Heidi's the only one who hasn't had a chance to ask a question yet. Heidi, did you have anything you want to talk to Mikey about?
We asked the question. Were you not paying attention?
Well, no, Olivia.
I helped to eloquently ask the question. Not that she's eloquent, but no, I'm good. I'm enjoying the conversation and just hearing, not only the experiences as a duck, but also as the other projects that you've worked on and are continuing to do.
Thank you.
Well, I can share that my most viral moment on the internet was thanks to Mikey. If anyone has ever gone or is a college football fan and has attended ESPN College Game Day early in the mornings, see, I went to a bunch of them when they happened in Eugene. And so I would show up at Autzen Stadium at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and there'd already be like 1,000 people out there in the middle of the night having a big party, and the broadcast doesn't start until 6 o'clock. So when I lived in LA, Oregon was playing at USC. And so I headed over to the Coliseum at like 4 in the morning, and it was me and like 2 security guards, and they were wondering what the hell I was doing there. The LA crowd was kind of, casually late. So I ended up being front row for it. And Will Ferrell was the guest picker. Mikey was there as the duck. And during one of the commercial breaks, just randomly, Mikey, one of the USC cheerleaders, started getting into a dance battle. You saw some of it in the demo reel that I showed at the start here. So I just happened to be filming with either my phone or a little pocket camera. And so I filmed this whole thing of Mikey dancing, and he completely destroyed this USC cheerleader in the dance contest. And I didn't think much of it, but, I posted a couple of videos to YouTube, once College Game Day was over. And by halftime, my phone would not stop buzzing. And by that evening, the video I had posted had already over 100,000 views of Mikey dancing. Within 2 days, it was at 4 million views. And within 3 days, ESPN started calling me saying, can we use this footage? And I thought they were going to use it for one little thing. And they ran it on every show for like 2 weeks. Amazing. To the point where they started, and I'm sure Mikey, you saw this because they started interviewing the duck with a helper on shows to talk about the dance competition that the duck was in with USC cheerleaders. And every show was doing like full-on analysis of the duck's dance moves against the USC cheerleader. And every time they were tagging at Kurt Liedtke in the upper left corner. So, Mike, I'm not sure how much you remember that because that's just another day for the duck, but that was a pretty big moment for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that was a really fun day. I didn't think much of it I didn't think much of the commercial break at the time. And it was just, that was what the duck did. And that's what we did. And, we carried on through the show. Later on in the show, I got kind of attacked by Will Ferrell at the very end. And, that was pretty cool just to, work with him a little bit. But then when it comes to like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, while I'm at the Coliseum for the game, I get a phone call from one of my assistants, and he says, dude, what did you do? what are you talking about? He says, you're like this video of you dancing, like from when? He says the you and the cheerleader. And then it clicked of, oh, okay, like what's going on with it? And he was explaining that it was going viral and being shared all around. And respectfully, I didn't really think much of it, just because that was really normal behavior. And then it right place, right time, right videographer, and someone right place, right time, and stars align. And it was just really cool to be, I guess that was a really viral moment. And for something that from back in 2010, 2011, those things really required a lot of work. You had to upload something on YouTube, and it had to be shared. And nowadays everyone's trying to go viral, but that was really an organic, cool video that really took off, and it was really cool to see it replayed the rest of the week. People liked it.
I didn't think much of it because I was just like standing up front, whatever, just kind of filming just for the hell of it. And then like my phone would not stop buzzing for like the next 2 days. Like every like 2 seconds, it would be like new notification for new comment, new comment, new comment. Like, what the hell? It's just Mikey dancing.
Well, I'm also glad that you filmed that, because like dance battles are one of those moments that I always wish that other people were filming. So to have a friend there who just knew to get that really cool moment, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we still have about half an hour, and Mikey, thank you for hanging around. Is there anything in regards to acting or his production or mascot work or working with Netflix that anyone wants to talk about?
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Yes.
So it's very clear that you have many different talents and that you work in many different facets. And, you know, as much as I love mascotting, and you know it's something very special and very unique, I'm as an actress and as a performer, I'm always afraid that I'm just being pigeonholed as a mascot, and that people might not want to see my face or want to see the other things that I can do. Can you speak about that at all, or like how you were able to break past just the duck and make sure that your other talents were hireable, that other people wanted to hire you for everything else?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. What came first, the duck or the egg? And it became the duck, or was it vice versa?
The duck casts a pretty big shadow, Mikey. Have you actually escaped the?
Right. This is another great question. I knew I wanted to go to Oregon to be the mascot. It was just I wanted to study music and I wanted to be the mascot, and I was fortunate enough to do both. But you know, while I was at Oregon and while I was at the mascot, I was thinking about graduating and what life is like after I'm not this anymore. And it was really an ongoing process to figure out what my skills can be once I leave this place, or you know, if I'm not dressing up anymore, what do I do? There's only so many jobs for, you know, I guess a musical mascot type of background. And I was leaning really heavily into, you know, audio, DJing, music. You know, the money makers at the time for me then was DJing. I didn't know too much about music production, but I was trying my best to learn. But that takes a whole different path of learning and schooling to be able to do that. So I really was trying to figure out what I could do besides mascotting, besides performing, because that can only be one type of job, you know, a mascot. And I was applying for pro mascot jobs and I was being interviewed. Nothing was, I was being beat out by like Cirque du Soleil performers and other NBA mascots. So I wasn't feeling too bad. But I still love this art, and I know there is a part of me that, you know, that can still do this. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, while I was figuring out while I was graduating what my hard skills can be, knowing that this is another part of what I can do, I just really wanted to create a hard skill, you know, kind of a way for myself to make money, but also be creative, because I don't think I'm ever going to stop being creative. And I just wanted to figure this out with my music degree. You know, can I use my music degree to you know, as a card to get in and to keep this snowball rolling? And that's why social media was a big focus of mine while I was the duck, was to be able to have a resume, have a portfolio of work that I know how to go viral. I know how to write good tweets. I know how to promote. I know how to market. And whether it's for a duck or for a brand, it's all relative. And this is something I can do. I'm decent, you know, with a camera. I know how to copyright. I know how to look at trends and to be a parody or play off of what is, you know, being talked about. And just honing that skill since Oregon, and, you know, working from the ground up of starting accounts to managing, you know, 500 follower accounts, to now I'm working with hundreds of thousands of followers. Now I'm working with millions. it's just the curve of responsibilities where, I'm always going to be a creative. Social media is a good place for me to always create every day, and nonstop. But there's also a part of me that likes to be a performer, whether it's in suit or outside of suit. And I just am very, very fortunate to be in the Bay Area, where there's a lot of different realms of performance, whether it's in suit or outside of suit, whether it's, in sports or in music. I'm really in a really cool position to be able to do all things. And I've really been told a lot in my life, I need to focus. And I agree, I do too need to focus a lot more, but I'm making it work right now. And I'm having a lot of fun being able to have a part of me in different aspects that are, paying the bills. And I'm, helping me grow as a just individual that wants to just keep going.
I feel that.
Well, and it's not just the duck that you get to be still on occasion. I know you've been the Oakland Raiders mascot, and of course, how about
Nice.
Golden State Warriors, San Francisco Giants, and weren't you just recently on stage with the Foo Fighters?
Yes, I was on stage with them I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago. I'm a mascot for Salesforce. Salesforce is a company here in the Bay. Well, I mean, they're everywhere, but their headquarters are based here. They have 4 characters, inflatable mascots, and I act as one of the mascots, along with, a 49ers mascot who plays one of them. Giants mascot plays one of them. We have a couple other people that rotate, but yeah, we were performing with the Foo Fighters last week for one of the concerts they had for the conference here 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
So we still have a few minutes left with Mikey. And again, thank you so much for taking some time out to join us and talk about all the different things that you do in the industry. I'm sorry that I've had a little bit of a broken record that we've had so many Oregon Ducks as our guests. I'm not trying to be preferential, just the people that I know in the industry, a lot of people from Oregon, because they have a great acting school there. And it's great art school. A lot of people have gone into work in the entertainment industry. And so we've had Stephen Moore on and Eric Nicolaizen on, and a few others, who have Oregon ties that are now in Hollywood doing big things. So
cool.
Thank you, Mikey, for being here. Were there other things that people want to ask while we have Mikey here to talk about either some of his social media work or mascot work or acting or production? If not, it's just my buddy and I catching up because I haven't had a chance to talk to this guy in a long time. So,
I don't really have a question, but I meant to share this earlier, and I would just like to tell you that I really enjoyed listening to you tonight, and I appreciate what you shared about your outlook on life, and I think that's great. And thanks for being part of Klamath Film tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If I may,
Go ahead.
if I can pitch maybe for 1 second or maybe 2, I would, my book is available on Amazon, and I just want to show you the front cover, and it deals with adversity, overcoming it. And right now during the pandemic, I think it has a very valuable message for both young and old. So if you want to look it up, you can Google my name, Mary Jane Hillier.
it sounds like your book has a lot of parallels to Mikey's book.
Well, yeah, that thought occurred to me. Anyway, if you Google my name and the name of the book, it is available and you might like it. But thank you again for coming tonight. I really did enjoy it, and blessings in all you do.
Thank you so much. I just ordered your book.
That was quick. I hope you like it.
Rich, it looked like you might have had a question, or Olivia, did you have a question? that you want to ask the duck here?
A question from Mike. Yeah, are you ever going to do anything like Andy Serkis or like Pedro in The Mandalorian?
Yeah,
body with
Mikey, you've actually done motion
says
capture
what?
work, right?
Yeah. Yes. Great question. That is a pursuit of mine I'm working on right now, is being able to wedge myself into the conversation of motion capture. I've done motion capture for Bleacher Report, utilizing just the way motion capture is now. It's become a little bit more commercialized and accessible. And I was really trying to get this department off the ground with Bleacher Report, seeing as though we're doing a lot of animations, we're doing a lot of things that require certain movements and certain dances, trends, movement, that it is just makes so much sense to have motion capture technology be able to help move that needle forward. So I was very much on the pursuit of that in the last year or so with Bleacher Report. With COVID, my position was eliminated, but that's okay because that's still something that I am pursuing now. Since I was laid off, I used my the money that they gave me to purchase a motion capture suit, and I've been working on creating a library of models for myself, including one of the Oregon Duck, to create social media assets and animations, so that I can get my portfolio in a good spot to shop it. But yes, I am working towards creating content using motion capture technology, and my motion capture suit's actually on the ground over there.
I see it.
Cool. So are there any sequels to Planet of the Apes coming up soon?
I am not sure, but I hope to get a phone call. I'll be honest, it's just been, I've always wanted to be in Star Wars. I've always felt like the Ewoks was speaking to me. Since then, I've just been an admirer, and then, I've listened to a lot of, Andy Serkis talks about motion performance. I've been a big fan of, the way technology is utilized within film. And I would love to be able to, be in the back of a cantina having some, drink in the back, and that's all good with me.
Blue milk. Does anyone else have questions for Mikey around here, or anyone online have additional questions for Mikey?
I think Olivia just had a comment, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
I read your book and it was amazing. And I thought it was, you actually did the you actually fly at the end.
You got to fly.
Thank you so much. That's really, really kind. Yeah, well, I translated it for the duck. The duck wrote it. And he did fly at the end. He's
with the jetpack.
Well, to just demonstrate this guy's character here. Years ago, my brother and I took his very young daughter to a basketball game up in Portland. It was Oregon versus Duke, and they were doing the whole Singler brothers side-by-side thing. Mikey was there as the duck, going through the aisles, and my niece Evie at the time was maybe, I think, 3 or 4 years old, and obsessed with the duck. And so she spent the entire time waving at Mikey, trying to just get a hello or something. And obviously vision is a little limited where in the head, right? So Mikey never saw Olivia waving at her, and she was just pouring tears at the end of the game. The duck never saw me. The duck never said hi. Why didn't the duck say hi? And so she was crying for 20 minutes on the drive home. And so I reached out to Mike, and I was like, dude, I not to be a jerk or anything, but just so you never waved at my niece, and she was waving at you all game. Mikey sent her a poster of the duck autographed to her as the duck with a whole note saying how sorry he was that he missed her at the game. So that made me about the coolest uncle in the world for a while. It's still framed and still hanging in my brother's house. So
cool.
Sorry, the really bad vision.
Two roles, right? Does the mouth have any vision as well, or is it solely the eyes?
It's only the mouth.
Only the. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, it's.
I had a character similar. I hung out with Emile the fat rat from Ratatouille. Yeah. So that head sat on top of my own head. So I had to bend down and only the mouth had vision, but it had the giant buck teeth in the middle of the mouth. So I would occasionally pop my head up. So it would look like he's going like this, but I'm looking through. But yeah, I get that. So you're mostly like looking at torsos and feet, aren't you?
Not all the time. I mean, sometimes you can kind of see him have a trajectory a little bit upwards, but if we're taking photos, we are kind of putting the position in a position. But that's acting. If you're taking a photo, you're not taking a photo like that as a human. You're taking a photo, looking at the camera. So you have to position yourself looking at the camera, and just dependent on how tall you are and where the camera is, it's all variant.
So, little random, but since you have so many amazing instruments behind you, and I know you're a musician, what is your main instrument?
I am a drummer.
So it is drumming. Okay, I wasn't sure if it's just because of your ability on game day, or if that really was your first. That's awesome.
I play drums somewhat too. I did for years, but I've never done it in an 80-pound padded costume before, which probably adds a whole other element of difficulty to trying to pull off a drum roll and keeping cadence.
No, yes and no. There are limitations. You can't play a full set as easily, so whenever I would go up in the stands or play in the drum set, I would take the bottom of my foot out. I would take this part out. This is an actual shoe. This is a Jordan 3, if anyone.
Wow.
But, this would be the part I would take out, and you would just see this. So then it'd be my bare foot hitting the drum, and that's how I would hit my pedals.
So he does have shoe shells.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Anything else that anyone would like to touch base with while we have Mikey here? And again, Mikey, thank you so much for taking some time out to kind of show us a little bit behind the curtain, as well as this guy's also done a program on Netflix, and he's worked in some other productions.
So you did Mascots on Netflix. Is that the program you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what was your role in that film?
You had 6 of them.
What? Okay. What did you do?
I was the mascot consultant.
It was clearly that film seemed like, sorry to interrupt, but that film.
No, you're good.
It had some expert knowledge behind it. It was hilarious, but it seemed like it was a love letter to Mascots, because there seemed to be a lot of more in jokes. So that makes sense that it had that role.
Yeah, he did pry a good amount of information for me. I think he took some influences for a couple characters, just the way I was talking, the way he was able to absorb the industry. But I was pretty much as on set. What do you think, Mike? He asked a ton of questions, and we worked really well together. It was a really incredible experience. just to be the consultant itself. But anytime a mascot was on stage, I was there. I helped choreograph with the choreographers the final performances, so that was really fun. And then when we filmed, I played 6 characters. Most notably was the Pink Bunny, but then I did Sushi, Donkey, Tammy the Turtle, back up. I was a Match, and then I was a sumo wrestler.
Okay. I was kind of hoping that you would say that you were the poop, but okay.
No, but I got to work with the poop.
Amazing.
So we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to make sure that we give everyone a chance to have their final thoughts. And I do have a couple quick announcements too before we finally close out, especially for those who joined late. As a reminder, right now, the month of October is when we do our annual elections for 2 board member positions. Those are 1-year terms. If you are an active member, you would have already received an email from me asking you to vote amongst members. So those 2 positions, Wayne and Nick, are expiring at the end of this month, and we will have 2 new board members going forward. Those positions are intended as individuals who represent our membership with our board of directors. So board members you can go to and talk to about something if you have a concern or question or inquiry. And of course, you can always reach out to me as well. So those 2 positions we will be filling in November. So if you haven't voted yet, please do so. We have open casting calls and crew calls right now. There's a feature film being shot out in Ashland in late October, and they're looking for a first AC, that's assistant camera operator. So if you have experience working with cameras, or you want to essentially be doing pull focuses for a feature film, that's going to be happening October 23rd through the 26th, I believe. So let me know if you have questions about that. Currently, there's commercials being shot for the Running Y, and one of our Klamath Film members is directing that, Cameron Nielsen. They need people hiking, biking, kayaking, riding horses of all different ages. So if you're interested in being part of those commercials, I have more information about that. And we, in the near future, in the next couple of months, we will have a Netflix film crew coming to the Klamath Basin for a nature documentary, filming birds, and they're looking to hire local crew to assist in that production. They'll be in town for 3 or 4 weeks. So there are upcoming work opportunities for our membership. With that, I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to chime in or say their final goodbyes or thank yous, or if there's a final question. So why don't we start online? Heidi, any final thoughts or anything you want to share or ask Mikey?
I don't think so. Just thank you very much for being here. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And Mary Jane, any final questions or thoughts you want to share?
There I go again. I just want to again thank you for being here. It was an enjoyable evening.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you.
Rich, do you have a final question?
Thank you, Mike. I have a final question. I just want to say, Michael, great to have you here on TV with us. Great. And the other question I had for you, Kurt, I wanted to find out if there's any way I can still see any of the Klamath Falls Independent Film Festival films.
Oh, okay.
Online.
So we left the festival open through September 26th for the online side. And after the 26th, we closed access to the films. Some of the films are available on YouTube. Some of the films will also be going to other film festivals soon and getting different distribution. It kind of depends on a case-by-case basis. So the film festival was the 17th through the 19th.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone who joined us at the Raglan, and thank you to everyone who watched online. Okay, so I guess the short answer to that is no, but it's a case-by-case basis for the individual film. And
yeah, I actually got COVID right during the middle of the whole thing, and I did not feel like watching any.
sorry to hear that. Oh, hopefully you're starting to do a little bit better now.
Yeah, I'm better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm better now.
Good. And Wayne, any final thoughts you want to share?
Oh no, just was excited to hear that the last feature film that I was in is now on a 5th streaming service. So sat down and watched that again recently. I love watching myself on a movie. One Step Ahead, and it's on Amazon and a number of other streaming services. The last one that I happened to catch it on was actually imdb.com. I was looking something up and saw that, and oh, that was kind of neat. But yeah, it's the first film that I played a fairly important role that's been on Amazon, so that's a kind of a kick.
What's the title of that?
One Step Ahead.
One step ahead. Okay. Well, okay. Congrats on that, Wayne. And I'm also so glad to see that you're starting to do a little bit better and being more active, because I know this was a rough year for you. So appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Art, anything you want to share? Or
All good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lillian?
Saying gracias, Mikey. I will be thinking about the book now. Dreaming about it. Gracias.
Howard and Joyce, anything you want to share?
Say hello to San Francisco for me.
It was great meeting you. I think you're an exciting personality. Where can we get a copy of your book signed?
Gotcha. Well, I think the Duck is going to be doing some book signings at the Duck store in Eugene next Friday before the Cal game. And there is one more date that there will be some book signings. But I think if we're able to connect, or once we're able to, I have a couple books that are lying around. I think we can figure this out. We haven't figured this out yet from just order a signed book, but I will let this group know if there is a way that we can get some signed books out to you.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm actually coming up. I'm excited that the Cal game is going to be every year. I have to minimum be at one game at Autzen every year, and this year it's the Cal game that I'm going to. So I'll be there amongst the 60,000 people watching the Duck dance. So, Brooke, any final thoughts from you, or final question?
And he'll cry if you don't say hi to him. Well, Olivia, I wanted to say bye to you because you're super cool. Bye, Olivia. I think you're awesome. Okay, so all of you online are awesome. And Mikey, thank you for taking the time to talk and telling us about part of your journey. And yeah, I wish you luck, dude. You seem like you're going a lot of places.
Thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you, and very nice to meet everyone. Everyone was very, very, this was awesome. This was really, really fun.
Cool.
And Mikey, the floor is yours. If you have any final comments or any advice you'd like to share, or any final thoughts.
Yeah, I think this group is awesome. Like I said, it's just a really cool. It's cool to see other fellow creators and people passionate about the industry, meet and to network and to talk about stories and to share information. And I think the best piece of advice I've ever gotten, and yeah, it is a name drop, but it was from Jimmy Fallon. I was fortunate enough to be on the Jimmy Fallon show, and we spent 3 hours just talking before we shot. And I asked him similarly what his advice would be to me, someone who's trying to break in and someone who's trying to move forward. And he told me to keep creating, like, no matter what, keep creating, big or small, to keep pushing and to keep trying, because that's really how to grow and get better, and to learn your craft is to learn what you like, what you don't like, and to be able to never let up. It's an ever-ending process, and that really stuck with me, that he told me to keep creating, because it just really betters your luck. It betters just your skill, and you know, it'll happen. Is to keep the faith and to just keep trying, even though it's maybe not there, to try to put something down, try to get something out, because that's really the creator, I think, in all of us is it's in there. And, you know, like ups and downs of life, it's tough sometimes, but as long as we can keep going and keep pushing, keep creating, I think we will all end up and get where we want to go.
So what Mikey's referencing there is before the 2011 national championship game between Oregon and Auburn, the Jimmy Fallon show flipped a coin to determine what sort of song that they were going to do to support one of the schools. So for Oregon, they did a power ballad of Mighty Oregon with Sebastian Bach from Skid Row singing, and Mikey performing alongside Jimmy Fallon. I was at that national championship game, and that song, they released it only like 2 or 3 days before the game. That song was blasting from every car and every tailgate party. I ran into Sebastian Bach at one of the parties after he performed on stage for the pep rally. Everyone was talking about that song and how cool it was, because the whole thing was like, every school has like a hip hop song or marching band song. No one had a power ballad about their school, and Oregon is the one that does, thanks to Mikey, Jimmy Fallon, and Sebastian Bach. So it's a very cool project that you got to do amongst many cool projects that the Duck has gotten to do.
Well, thank you.
So thank you everyone for coming. Again, we do these on the first Thursday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the Falls Tap House. Depending on the weather, we may start doing them just on Zoom during the winter months, because I see a lot of people shivering around me right now, and I am too. And thank you to everyone who joined us online. First Thursday of November, we'll have a different guest from the industry join us to talk about what they do, and of course to share about projects that we have going on. So thank you, Mikey, so much for being here. Great to catch up with you as always. And hey, maybe I'll see you in Eugene in a week or so.
Thank you all. Thank you all for taking the time as well. It was really, really fun. It sounds good, dude. We'll talk soon, okay?
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for being